capital purchase, if you look all the way down there, it shows $63,400. That'll be about what we spend actually on the park itself. And then the total in kind, about $900 from our Public Works Department. And then you will see at the grand total, we have a $88,000 grant for City Park behind the community school and auditorium. Is what we've talked about. We've taken a long time to get here. Park plan, recommendations, all those things. So this is the actual grant, and that's the main page of that. And I think the first page, I overlooked this for you. Go back to the first page. It shows the start date of this grant, 1/15/25. So we really can't do anything in the park until January the 15th. I've seen a lot of little stuff and comments about, well, we haven't done anything. When you're working with the government, there's some guidelines and policies. So the long-awaited contract is here, and if you approve that, I will sign it tonight and submit it tomorrow, and that will be the park grant that we worked hard to get to. So I would recommend a motion to approve that grant.
I make a motion we approve the grant.
A motion by Alderman Wood.
I second.
Second by Alderman Morgan. Any additional discussion?
Be nice for the community.
Be nice for the community. Yep, I agree with you. Been a long time getting here, and any additional? Okay, well, it'll be a roll call vote on this, and just to let you know, we've all been through all this. We don't really have to have a roll call vote, but because we're doing this as a team effort, that I think it's warranted that the mayor is not just flatly agreeing, because we now have a policy that says the grants have to come to you now. So Alderman Carter, Alderman Wood,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman Reed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll sign that in the morning. That passes, and so we look forward to having some better parks, and quite a bit has gone into getting to this point, so thank you for that. All right, we'll move on down to mayor's report. I've got a note on the agenda, the proclamation for Family Court Awareness Month. Unfortunately, I did not print that and put it in your packet. I had shared it out there on the mayor's social media page about what that is. This Family Court Awareness Month, basically the state has supported this endeavor to have a safe location for people who may have custody issues that sometimes, if you look in recent media, that things have gone wrong. Parents and co-parents and grandparents, have some time. So we have a spot just in front of the police department, in front of where the snorkel truck is, the truck that hardly ever moves out of the bay out there. So we put that there. We got lights on 24/7, and that it provides just a place that some family in the neighborhood needs to transition kids late at night for whatever reason. They got a place that's 24-hour surveillance, and they've got good lighting, and it's safe. You can use it to swap out stuff you buy on Amazon or Facebook things too, but ideally, the whole purpose of this is to, if you look around some of our areas, not a lot of light. The school's got some light, but there's not a lot of traffic there close by, so Chief Graves and I have talked about the location of that, and that's what that's about. So I've shared it out there on Facebook, social media. So it's another service to the community, to have an opportunity to exchange your children. Okay. The Rural Health Association, the chief and I had discussed, and he has applied for a prescription drug take-back box. It's in an effort to reduce substance abuse, an effort to keep young kids from maybe getting in a medicine cabinet and just experimenting with things. This box will be placed inside the police department. So somebody has to come to the police department and give the material to them or put it in that box, and then it's locked. So the agency that is providing this box is who had the key. So the mayor don't have the key to the drug box, and it's not going to be outside where you got vandals trying to get in it, things like that. So it's another great service that our police department is providing to, and certainly we don't want people flushing pills down the toilet. I mean, that's not good for the water and the environment either. So That box has not arrived as of yesterday, so it'll be put into place as soon as we get it. It just, we've applied, been approved, it just hadn't come in. Board of Mayor and Alderman transitions will occur December 3rd, that's next meeting. So per our charter, that whatever happens this evening, we'll find out who your mayor is going to be and who your alderman is going to be. But that transition will occur on December the 3rd, the next meeting. So per our charter, it's not a month later, it's not weeks, it's the next meeting. So that next group will be sworn in. Having said that, I want to certainly commend all of you on the board for your service over the years. You do a lot for no financial gain. You do a lot of volunteering for the community. Of course, some of you serve longer than others. Some of you had multiple terms. I'm not sure if I'm gonna call you Reverend because nice last meeting. Alderman Reeves and Alderman Wood had probably been the two longer serving members on this board, and have been elected or appointed repeatedly. So I certainly appreciate your efforts and what you've done for the community, because it makes a difference. And so thank you for your work, and I'm sure people in the city appreciate you stepping up at the time and serving in this role. So thank you so much for that. Transition will occur. This is your last official meeting, so congratulations and thank you. Okay. All right, the financial report. Let's look at that for a moment. Let's see here. I do, in line with the financial report, I want to address an issue with the comptroller, to let you know that we received a letter on October the 11th, and this is the public record. You can go to the comptroller's website, that in the previous few years we've had some difficulty getting our audit into the comptroller's office, and that problem has been associated with Godwin and Associates, who is our auditing firm. So we have always submitted, at least in my term and the previous mayor, last 4 years, submitted our audit on time to, with enough time for our auditors to review it and send it to the comptroller. They failed to do that a few years in a row. We got a visit from the comptroller's office saying, look, you got to get this fixed. Ultimately, it comes back to the mayor's office. And so after meeting with them, meeting with the Godwin Associates, we confirmed on Monday, yesterday, that they have finished our audit. They sent us a draft, and it will be submitted on time this year. So the auditors and the comptroller, everybody's happy that we will be completing this on time. One note on this that is, it looks very concerning. I think it's the third paragraph. It notes $144,795 of spending allocations were not placed in the budget correctly. That's a budget amendment issue in dealing with the sirens and some street paving. So it's not an uncommon problem, but it's not a problem you want to have all the time. So it looks like you spent more money than you had. Well, that's not the case. We just didn't amend our budget like the comptroller wanted us to. So it was a mistake on our part, and that we've already talked to Sarah Pope and all the others, and they understand kind of where we are. So we try to avoid those things, but being a small office and working directly with our auditors, they are the ones who help us do things in a timely manner. Last year we only had one budget amendment, and that's great compared to the previous year. We have one every couple of months, it seems like. But that's a note from them. We're squared away. We are in no jeopardy. Audits turned in on time. Everything looks fantastic. So you'll get a copy of the finalized audit for this year in just a few days. I say a few days, maybe longer than that, because the comptroller's got to get it. So anyway, any questions about that? The comptroller's letter. Okay, that was important to note. With our expenses, another note that many of you may not realize, our liability insurance alone for our commercial property coverage, we just paid that this week, $6,320. And because we have money in the bank we're able to pay all that up front. That saved us $700. So we're trying to be somewhat frugal in our spending and get a savings where we can. And by paying the bill completely instead of stretching it out over several months, you save $700. So insurance is not cheap, but that's just to let you know, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the financial report itself. This is the what you see every week, the expenditure, revenue and expenditures report. If you look down through there on the revenue, you see now we have some tax money from property tax coming in. Just to make note, so you are reminded and the community's aware. So this expenditure and revenue report is kind of an overall budget. We take our total budget that was published in the paper and we have to split it out over 12 months. So we don't get all of our revenue in month to month like you do in your job. Some revenue comes in 1 month, some revenue comes in 4 months later, and so it's not a regular payment. So we get revenue over time, and those yearly budgets, let's say like on the one that's wholesale beer tax, we don't get all of that $25,000 revenue each month. It comes in spurts, I say. So anyway, that's an idea of where we are. Gasoline inspection fee, you see, we get $2,600, $2,649. So it's spread out over time. So if you're looking at the budget for the general public when they see this, you're looking at the annual and the year to date. That's really the main couple things. And then what's remaining? Did you go over or under? So in revenue, you don't often get more than you plan for, but it may occasion. So we're doing good on that. You should see a total for the current $16,226.08. That's the revenue for this current month. If you look through the expenditures, you may have a question or two about those. I don't know. We're off on software. It looks like we spent $1,800 more than we planned. Website has been upgraded. It was kind of a requirement. We had to do it or we was going to lose it. So that was an additional cost we didn't plan for in our planning session. Water on page 2. We're over budget about $26. We had a water leak in the fire hall. In the men's bathroom, we couldn't seem to get that stopped. We finally got a plumber to fix it right. Your professional services, about line 4 or 5, we're over about $1,000. We budgeted $9,500 for professional services, and that's stuff like your park plan, Southwest Development, a few other things. So it actually costs us more for the services than we anticipated, which is, it's just one of those things that we get a bill from Southwest Development, so it's going to cost another $1,000 to $500 that we didn't know about it. Be your city planning services, what part of that is. I don't know if y'all see anything else there that concerns you. Street lighting, if you look almost all the way down the page, we budgeted $14,000 for that, and we've only spent about $4,000 to date. Well, guess what? This time of year is when we start spending that money because it's darker early and it just costs a little bit more. So that's there. I don't know if you see anything else that concerns you. Just speak up if you do. As we always do, if you look at page 4, this is the street aid revenue and expenditures. We spent $275 more this month than we anticipated, and you can see for the year we're 2639 that were spent more. However, this time of year we go down to 1 maintenance day, and we're going to kind of recoup that as we get into spring and the new budget. That you'll see that come back on the plus side, so it's not really an issue. And then the final page 5. This is had a good month this month. If you look at page 5 under current actual, we're $2,376 to the good for the month. For the year, we're still a little bit behind, but as your revenues come in for taxes and beer taxes and sales taxes, you'll see that come back to the plus side. Any questions about the revenue expenditures report itself? No, don't see any. All right, we'll move on. You got your account balances. The general fund, $172,710.99. Then you have the fire budget, $3,928.82. Parks, this is the actual bank's account, $5,002.47. River Day, $6,763.15. So we have a checking account just for River Day. And then street aid, you see that matches kind of what we was talking about on the street aid page. We've got $24,000 in the bank for street aid to cover some expenses that we need to have a little cushion there. And then the ARPA funds, that money is allocated at this time based on what we did last month. So total balance, money in the bank, $283,924.54. And then we have probably $1 million of other assets and capital and things like that. So we are very solvent as a city at this time. We don't owe anyone money. We're doing good to pay our bills and maintain and make some improvements along the way. So we are in good status. Any questions about any of the budgetary notes or issues? Okay, having none, we'll move on. We'll note for you, Alderman, in your packet, I missed this a while ago, you have a page about the town charter. So our town charter, I only gave you first page of this. This is basically done frequently. If you look at the bottom paragraph, it basically says, the text of this basic charter act set out herein was last amended and reflected legislation passed in 2016 session of the Tennessee General Assembly and is current with the laws from the 2024 regular session of the 113th Tennessee General Assembly. So our charter is up to date, and this whole new draft will be put on the website for people to see. Unfortunately, we got to move around some things on the website. It's kind of buried down under, I think, community, so we got to get it a little bit closer where people can find it easier. So that is the updated charter. I'm going to skip to Alderman reports real quick. Alderman Morgan, you want to mention anything about Nightmare on Lane?
We just had a really good turnout. I want to thank everyone who set up for the kids. They all had a good time. I was real pleased with it.
Okay. Yeah, had a lot of kids there. I was very, very surprised and had to move it at the last couple of days because of the rain. But yeah, it turned out great for all of you that worked on that. Thank you so much for making that happen. Alderman Maynard, I know you're on the way out the door, but Christmas parade is just around the corner. So you want to say anything about the Christmas parade? Are you still going to do it? I hope. No.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll just see how today goes. I mean, I don't know. You know, I mean, I'm supposing right now it's tentatively planned for December the 7th, which is the first Saturday in December. And Rebecca Dawson is overseeing doing a arts and crafts holiday fair at the gym like we've always had from 10 to 4 that day. And then the parade starts at 6.
Okay.
So,
Okay, well, if I'm here, I would appreciate you continuing on that path, and maybe we can get some new aldermen to assist you with
I
that.
hope new alderman will help assist with it.
If I'm not here, y'all just call me. I'll be down in the Keys taking a little vacation. Vacation down, I might not be here, so, all right. Okay, all right, so I think that's all of that information there. We're gonna move into the disciplinary hearing for Chief Bruce, and before I move forward, I do need to get back to public comments. I kind of had to get through some of that first. So I believe, let's see, Ms. Barker, I believe you're here. If you want to make a comment, you're welcome to do so.
Good evening, Jennifer Barca. This is about the disciplinary hearing for Chief Bruce. Chief Bruce, I had no idea that you had such a disdain for me and my family. I was not aware of anything. The weekend that you had put out some nasty comments about me, saying, let me go back. The weekend that you did that, I was planning on coming to talk to you because I was running for alderman, and I wanted to talk to you about future things to get for the fire department. I am a shipboard firefighter. I did serve in the Navy for 20 years. Not only was I a shipboard firefighter, I was a trainer. I trained sailors to shipboard firefight. So I know a little bit about what you do. Not the extent as a civilian, but I do know what firefighters have to go through. And I wanted to help you with that. When I saw those comments, I'm not worried about name calling from anybody. I'm not. I'm grown. What I do not like is someone claiming or even insinuating that I have stolen valor, because that is something that I do not.
Stolen valor.
I am a retired 20-year veteran from the United States Navy. I served my country. I served this country very great conduct. I was an outstanding sailor. My husband was an outstanding sailor. My husband worked at NRO. We were in the military. These comments that you had made as the fire chief were surprising. Again, I was coming to talk to you that Monday morning to talk about future things. But when I saw that, I had no idea that you had said that you had even had any problems with us, because the last time I spoke with you, you stood there and you spoke with me. You were in Bethesda. You were at one of the naval bases up there. We talked about firefighting. I thought everything was good. I had no idea, but that's fine. I just want you to know that regardless of election, you being the fire chief, if you need somebody to help with getting stuff for this fire department, I'm here. Because I am a shipboard firefighter. I'm a firefighter to heart. And let me tell you something, I was not an engineer. I was a cook on a ship. And as a female, I ran fire parties. I ran trainings. So if there is any other question about my service record or my husband's service record, please ask us. Do not put stuff on Facebook, because that's, in my opinion, that's wrong, but in your opinion, it might be different. But if you have any questions, or anybody does, ask us, because we're the ones that have the answers, nobody else. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Hart, you're like,
Yeah. On a lighter note, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the entire board for the service to our community. You're under constant scrutiny. You get all the blame, none of the pat on the back. So thank you for servicing our community.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, moving into the disciplinary hearing of this, I'll let you know that this is not a court of law. This is a disciplinary hearing. We don't operate on rules of law. We will address this in the way that our charter sets out to us. I will share this with you. So in your packet, members of the board, this becomes public record. I know there's a lot of scrutiny over this, and some things have been said in social media and whatever. No one has called this office and actually asked a legitimate question at all, or emailed and even asked a question. However, this record now becomes a public record, and so anyone that wants to request a public record, that they have the opportunity to do so, and that is with anyone else's personnel file, be it mine or another employee, things like that. So again, this is a disciplinary hearing from the town of Saltillo. So members of the board, I have included in this letter page 1 and 2 that I gave to Chief Bruce. And just before I get too far into this, the Chief Bruce will have an opportunity to address the board, but I will go through some of this and give you the information. He was notified on October the 14th that he was going to be suspended. I've laid out the 3 specific instances of this particular suspension. And a note that it says that this hearing may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. So you have that, you've had a chance to review that, and that if you have any questions momentarily, you'll be able to ask those of me, and then Chief Brooks will be able to talk a little bit. Page 3, this is a page from our charter, and I want to make sure that you understand the reason we're doing a hearing is because the charter says this is the way to do business, and we try to follow that. Section 12, I scoot down to the important part. The mayor shall have the power to suspend any officer in the judgment of the mayor. The public welfare requires it, but shall submit to such officer at the time of suspension a written specification of the charges against the officer. The officer may appeal the suspension to the board. In all cases, the examination of the charge against the officer, the mayor shall preside, administer oaths, and issue subpoenas to compel the attendance of the witnesses and the production of the books and the paper. The mayor shall give the records and information in writing to the board as the mayor deemed expedient for the interest of the town. So there's some other jargon there that the mayor has the right to vote on all things that come before this board. So it just tells you that the suspension comes to this point because of issues that I've been dealing with. We'll get into that in a second. Page 4, area of responsibility. This is from our handbook. Now, there's a couple things here. In our charter, the fire chief is not mentioned specifically as an officer, but we understand that as the fire chief, you are an officer, although you may not be specifically listed. And everybody gets an employee volunteer handbook. And in this handbook, it talks about doing a good job at the bottom of the page, such as maintaining mental alertness, promptness, regular attendance, cooperation with supervisors. I'm speaking today as the mayor and the supervisor of the chief of the fire department here in Saltillo. I am the supervisor of the fire chief, the police chief, and the maintenance department. As they say in most places, the buck stops here. The chief doesn't answer to the board, he answers to me. I'm the executive branch of this city, you are the legislative branch. But now it comes to your duty to determine where he stands at this point. On page 5, continue from the handbook, follow the code of conduct and the rules of the city. Must do that. Down at the bottom of the page, personal property, employees and volunteers must exercise due diligence in maintaining and caring for personal property assigned to their departments, and basically all property. Page 6, handbook, inadequate or unsatisfactory performance are unacceptable behaviors. Employee conduct, on down the line, misconduct or insubordination, which means not doing what your supervisor has asked you to do, are grounds for disciplinary action. If you look at page 7, there are a number starting on page 6 of job responsibilities, conduct of and becoming of an employee of city service, willful abuse and misappropriation of funds, property and equipment. You know, there's 22 things here. Damage and destruction of city property, all those kind of things. So that's all in the handbook. Page 8 in the handbook, dismissal. An employee may be dismissed by the appointing authority for unacceptable conduct or performance of duties. And this is kind of where we are. Ultimately, that, well, I guess that's the same. Page 9, social media. This is where some of the contention has come from, and it is not only from one instance, as I have provided in your packet of things that are concerning. Our employee volunteer handbook specifically states, this policy is intended to provide guidelines to ensure that social media tools are used properly and to address potential risk. The line between public and private, personal and professional are blurred in online social networks, and whatever you post on your personal account will likely reflect on the city of Saltillo. Therefore, be aware of your association with the city and thoughtfulness on how you present yourself online. So those are some concerning things. And on page 10 are the job duties that were given to Chief Bruce with multiple bullet points. And the conclusion, communicate effectively with supervisor orally and in writing, communicate with supervisor department progress, action, monthly activities, and a number of other things. You see that he has signed in agreement to follow what's in his job assignment and those kind of things. So, in your packet, I've included a number of things that the expectations have been laid out, and I will tell you, a supervisor in the city is not, does not have a contract. He answers to the mayor, and the mayor determines if the job is being done adequately and professionally, and what the outcome of that would be, and it reports to the board. So, basically, he's an at-will employee, such as the police chief. He's an at-will employee. He doesn't really have to have a rhyme or reason why he's suspended, dismissed, or whatever, but it makes it a good practice to do so. You see some other things that are in this packet that we've talked about before. One of those is an issue that come up with the purchasing policy and the grant that he got. There's some, some history of some social media that we've dealt with that I'm telling you is undermining the authority of the mayor. I go back even to the fire truck. When we went through that whole thing, it was all over social media and everybody was talking about it. That particular effort is an attempt, I believe, to undermine what we're doing as a leadership, in addition to some other things. But this last social media post was absolute unbecoming and the end of it all. With your packet included and the reasons for the suspension, I'm recommending to you tonight to dismiss the fire chief from his duty as fire chief of the town of Saltillo, and we'll get somebody else. That is your prerogative to dismiss the fire chief. You have the information in front of you. I'll be glad to address any questions. Otherwise, I will defer to the chief to make his comments and plead to your board. Any questions?
Do we have a copy of his signature on this handbook? It's not in the packet, it's probably in the personal files.
Yeah, yeah. Ms. Benita, can you look and see if that's in there?
It's on, and we've got one on the job responsibilities.
I'd like to say something.
Okay. Are you just speaking, or are you asking a question,
I'm just,
or? Okay.
especially to the new people that are running for office. Benita is awesome at getting you the material that you're gonna be voting about or making any kind of decision or looking forward to or investigating or whatever. And so when we get a packet like this, we've had minimum 3 days to 4 days to look over this packet, to read it multiple times, to ask any question to clarify of the mayor, and to research anything on Google or whatever else. And I'm not talking about just this situation, about every situation every month. And the only way, the one tidbit of information, I've been on this board mostly since '08, except for my husband when he had cancer. But is as soon as you get this packet, or opportunity to get this packet, that you get it and you read it once and then you wait a while and you read it again, and because things come out at you at different times. And sometimes you'll have a question about one thing and you don't oversee anything else. But we've had this packet for numerous days. Because of other meetings, we were aware of things that were going on, happening with our fire department. We all love Dustin Bruce, I can say that. But, you know, in any business or anything, you know, you have to make hard decisions, and some people are capable of that and some people are not. But you hope that everyone that's elected will look at it in the same way that this board has, and this is one of the best boards that I've served on. Anyway, so there's some questions that have been said, commented, I've heard, because I don't see a lot of that Facebook stuff. But elected person said this or elected person said that. Elected person is not an employee of the city. We are not reimbursed in any way for the gas we do, for the crafts we put on, for the flowers we buy, or anything else. That's just like you, a volunteer. So the rules that apply to an employee do not apply to an elected official. Those are totally different things. And I don't think it's just one, but I think all of our city employees serve at the will of the supervisor, which is the mayor. Which, like he said, the buck stops here. So, I hope that whatever this vote turns out to be, that you will appreciate the conscientious decisions that people make, maybe having more information than you do. So, anyway, I just wanted to make the main point about employees are held to a different standard than elected officials.